Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we are going to be going through the top 10 champions with the most amount of CC in League of Legends. So without further ado, let's get into the video. First things off, let me just start out saying that CC is fucking broken, so if you find a good CC champion with a good comp around it, it's pretty much GG. On number 10 we have Ivern. Let's start this list off with one of the friendliest characters in the whole game called Ivern. The Great Father, you see. Ivern is a jungle support champion, but don't let that stop you from playing him. Tyler 1 managed to climb to Challenger by playing this champion. You see, Ivern has one of the fastest jungle clears in the whole game, and he does not mess around. Even when ganking, it's simple. To gank with Ivern, you shoot out your Q, and if it hits someone, it CCs them. If you right click on them, it will pull you closer to them. The next ability that Ivern can use to CC his targets is his ultimate ability that he calls Daisy. For your knowledge, Daisy is the side hoe that he calls whenever he wants, and she's made out of stone. For Daisy to launch out her CC, she has to hit the target 3 times, in which she smashes the ground and launches a path of rocks, knocking up targets into the air. Once Daisy dies, Ivern can spawn another one and let his murder spree continue. So what makes Ivern great for CC? He has the ability to root people and lock them in place, allowing his teammates to beat the crap out of him. Daisy can knock up multiple people into the air after she auto-attacks 3 times. And Ivern has the ability to spawn bushes around the rift, which he can use for some juicy ganks or save his dear team. On number 9 we have Galio, the Colossus. This giant of a man is a huge statue that is perfect against AP champions, since he gains a passive shield against AP damage. But he's also really good versus AD champions, since he's a tank. Not only that, but Galio is a master when it comes to crowd controlling a bunch of people. He has 3 abilities in his kit that allows him to do that. The first ability is his W. With this ability, Galio goes back into himself like a turtle and charges up. After he's fully charged up, he releases an aura that forces people to attack him with slow attack speed debuff, of course. The next ability is his He, where he lunges at people with his whole body, hitting anyone that's standing in his way, knocking them up and smashing the ground with his giant fists, breaking their toes. Last but not least, Galio can use his ultimate ability to jump a large distance, saving his teammates in need. When he lands on the location where his teammates are, he knocks up anything and everyone that's an enemy target, which CCs them for a short period of time. This Colossus can save your life when you need it the most. What makes him great for CC is he has 3 abilities in his kit that allows him to CC people, like I've already said. His ultimate has a huge radius that you can use to save your teammates, and his W can taunt multiple people at once, which is effective during a team fight, making the enemy focus a tank instead of your squishy, puny teammates. On number 8 we have Thresh. Here we have Thresh, the Chain Warden. Riot turned this scary creature into a sexy enemy antagonist that was freed from the Shadow Isles and is now free to roam the Runeterra as he pleases. Thresh also has 3 abilities in his kit that allow him to CC people. Let's go over them now. Let's start with his Q, which is a hook. Don't take this ability lightly, as it's pretty damn hard to hit. First, you have to aim where you want this ability to land. Next, you have to charge it up for a second, and then, only then, will Thresh throw out his hook to hit someone. So, every time you use this ability, you'd have to predict where the enemy would go next. The next ability in this kit is his Flay. With Flay, Thresh can launch a person into the target direction, knocking them up and slowing them down. This ability is really useful, and I'd recommend that you combine it with your Q, so when landing your hooks, it's 10 times easier for you. For his ultimate ability, Thresh locks people in a box, and everyone that touches the wall of the box takes a bit of damage and they're heavily slowed, just like their leg bones have been shattered into pieces. That's about it about this hooker and his great CC and his great potential to CC people. What makes Thresh so good is the 3 abilities in his kit that he can use to CC. The hook ability is the most useful one out of the 3, and the only downside is that it's hard to land. His ultimate ability can be used to stop people from trying to escape your wrath, or locking multiple people in a box cage and watching them run around like headless chickens. Use Flay first before trying to hook someone. It makes your life 10 times easier, gamer. On number 6 we have Rell. Rell the Iron Maiden. First off, this girl was tortured until she has perfected the art of metal bending. When she has done so, she broke out and now she rides on her cool horse made out of metal. You see, Rell loves to control the flow of battle and will do anything to stop her enemies from advancing any further. The first ability that she can do that with is her W, where she dismounts from her horse and knocks up anyone that's in her path. The second ability is where she can link up with her ADC, and anyone that's between her and the ADC gets CC'd like crazy. The third and final ability is her ultimate, where she magnetizes everything around her. Once she has done that, she pulls everyone as close as she can towards her, so her teammates can beat them up while she tanks all the damage. What makes her so good for crowd control? She has a great combination with any marksman champion. She can CC multiple targets with her W and E ability, especially when you combine those two together. She's able to pull targets toward her thanks to her ultimate ability, which can disrupt the enemy from attacking your teammates. On number 6 we have Zyra. Zyra, Rise of the Thorns. Might look like an attractive girl, but believe me, she will take her little plants and peck you to death with them. Especially when she locks you in a place that doesn't allow you to move a muscle. The way she CCs people is simple and relatively easy to hit. First up on the list is her E, in which she launches little roots through the ground that hit you and root you into place. This ability can root multiple people if you're skilled enough to hit it that way. Next up is her ultimate ability, Strangle Thorns, where Zyra summons a huge vortex of plant roots under your feet that knocks you up, slows you, deals damage to you, and empowers all of her plants that were inside of the vortex with fucking steroids. This might not seem that scary until you find out that Zyra scans insanely well with magic items. Even though she's a support champion, she will deal more damage to the enemy than her ADC. She's a support, if you get what I mean. What makes Zyra so good for crowd control is her E, which can root multiple people. Strangle Thorns can be really effective in a teamfight where your gamer buddies need help, and by help, I mean taking every single kill and dealing the most damage in your team. And her plants just rip apart enemies. On number 5 we have Blitzcrank. Up next we have the better hooker than Thresh, and that's Blitzcrank, the great steam golem. You see, unlike Thresh, Blitzcrank has the ability to automatically launch his hook and pull people close to him. When they're close enough, he uppercuts them so hard that they have a dislocated jaw for the rest of their lives. Not to mention that Blitzcrank can unleash his inner demons and give everyone around him electrical therapy that's so good he puts them to sleep. When you want to play this champion, please remember that your only job is to hook people towards you and CC them with your uppercut. That's all you have to do. It's nothing fancy. It's simple. Even my dog could do it. What makes Blitzcrank so great is his hook, his uppercut, which you don't have to aim, and his ultimate that can silence and deal damage to multiple targets around him. On number 4 we have Zac, the bubblegum. Zac was created somewhere in the depths of Zon. Why was he created? Who knows, maybe someone wanted a friend, so they created this monster that kinda reminds me of a blobfish. But even though Zac might look ugly and disgusting, boy can he CC people. The first ability that allows him to CC is his Q, where he can use his arms to make people kiss. First, you hit your Q on a champion or a minion, then you hit your Q again on the minion or a champion, and boom, they kissed by your will. Now for his E, Zac jumps on top of a target, knocking them up in the air and holding them in place for a short period of time. Last but not least, with his ultimate, Zac blows himself up into a huge bubble and he starts jumping around. Each time he lands, he stuns all targets around him, knocking them up in the air once again and pushing them off to the side like the side hoe you are. What makes him so great for crowd control is his ability to CC multiple people at the same time with all of 3 of his abilities. He's a jungler, so having that much CC in this kit is pretty good when ganking a lane. Not only that, but having that much CC and having lots of HP makes him an unstoppable force not to be messed with. On the other side, he can gank you from across the fucking map, his range is huge. On number 3 we have Morgana. Yup, did you think I wouldn't include this mistress? Well, think again, young man. Morgana the Fallen is the type of champion that will lock you in her chains and won't let you go until you die of old age. Like seriously, how long can their CC last? Jesus Christ, right? But yes, Morgana has 2 CC abilities in her kit. The first ability that locks you in place is her Q. To do that, you simply have to hit the ability, and boom, the deed has been done and finished. For her ultimate ability, Morgana rises up with her wings and everyone that's around her will get locked into place. Her ultimate is pretty much her Q, but that locks people and lasts the same amount of time. This ability goes really well with Zhonya's. And what makes Morgana so good for crowd control is if you manage to hit your Q, you get a kill 90% of the time if your ADC has enough brain cells to connect with you. And the ultimate ability coupled with Zhonya's is simply amazing and great in teamfights. It's like a multi-shot of her Q. Seriously, when I get hit by her Q, I have time to go grab a cup of coffee, to do a workout, to attend meetings. It's long, bro. Morgana with Everfrost can CC you for so long. Second on this list we have Nautilus, my boy. At number 2, the Titan of the Depths. Once a proud sailor or pirate turned into an abomination of the depths, the anchor that killed him is now his only weapon. You know how I said that Blitzcrank was the best hooker? Well, I lied, too bad, so sad. Nautilus is the best hooker on the market right now, simply because his hitboxes are broken and they will connect to anything that you want them to connect with. Most of the time it will be straight bullshit, but hey, Riot Games seems that they don't care about it anyway, so it should be, right? Anyways, Nautilus can CC you with his auto attacks, with his Q, with his E, and with his ultimate. With his auto attacks, it's simple, you just press auto attack, right click on someone. His Q throws out his huge anchor where he hooks onto people and drags himself towards them. With his E, he stomps the ground, slowing everyone around him. And last but not least, his ultimate ability is very simple. Listen to this. You press R on an enemy and boom, they go up into the sky like a rocket. Not only that, but this guy is tanky as fuck from the beginning of the match. So good luck trying to kill something that's already dead. What makes him so good for CC is that almost every ability he has, except his W, which just makes him tankier, CCs people. With his Q, he can hook targets even if it wasn't meant to be. His E slows, which is perfect after you land a Q. His R is a point-click knock-up, retarded. And if you combine everything, you get CC'd for eternity. So yeah. On the number 1 on this spot we have, you guessed it, Leona. Listen, if you see this girl on the enemy team, just run away as far as possible. Don't even come close to her. She will beat you up even if you are 10-0. As for her abilities, they are really simple but deadly and combined together. Her Q allows her to CC your targets with her next auto attack. As for her E, she launches her sword and if she hits a champion, she will go to their place. For her ultimate ability, Leona launches the whole sun at her targets. If those targets find themselves in the center, they're stunned and most likely have brain damage. Now thanks to Season 12 and the new items, Leona is able to launch her E and Q constantly, keeping her targets in place, not allowing them to move until she's done with them. What makes Leona so great for CC is that she can CC people with a simple auto attack repeatedly. She can launch herself to her targets if needed. She can CC them with the sun at range. And she can CC with no cooldowns in the late game basically. Besides, she's tanky as shit. And that's it for our top 10 champions with the most amount of CC, guys. If you enjoyed the list, be sure to leave a like, comment and subscribe. See you next time. Peace.